There's conclusion of our regular business session. There's no executive session. We do have citizens wishing to speak, and I'll call you if you would come to the lectern and sign in if you would. Sign-in sheet. Amanda Breyer, Animal Welfare Postman. For everyone coming to speak, we ask you to limit to 5-minute response if you don't mind. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mandy Brower, and I'm an animal rescuer and a member of No Kill Paulding. I'm here today because I've learned that there are changes that have been made in over 90 counties nationwide, representing about 300 cities and towns that have allowed their animal control department to achieve 90th percentile save rates. In the last couple of decades, shelters in numerous communities have been implementing a series of programs that reduce birth rates, increase adoptions, and keep animals in their homes. These communities have been achieving unheard of results. They're saving 90 to 98% of all impounded animals in open admission animal control facilities. These communities are very diverse regarding income and politics, and some are municipal shelters and some are private shelters with animal control contracts. These communities share one thing. Their leadership has made a commitment to implement these programs that are referred to as the no-kill equation. I'm here today to speak to you in our community about this life-saving, economically beneficial program. Our current save rate is only averaging about 45%, which is tragic compared to these other facilities that are achieving more than double what we are. I know that if other communities can achieve this, Paulding can as well. In every community where no-kill has become a reality, it's been achieved through rigorous implementation of the programs of the no-kill equation. It didn't take them years, they did it virtually overnight by implementing the equation. So what are the programs that make up the no-kill equation? First is trap, neuter, return. Our community cats are being killed at a rate of 83% in the shelter and kittens at 72%. Over 1,600 cats and kittens lost their lives in 2011. TNR has been proven to safely reduce the cat population, and our current system has been proven not to. We must have a program in place to save our cats and kittens and also more effectively spend our taxpayer dollars. High volume, low cost spay neuter is number 2. By creating or working with a high volume, low cost spay neuter program, we could reduce the number of pets entering our shelter and thus allow more resources to be allocated towards saving lives. Rescue group work is number 3. Only about 8% of our pets get released into rescues. By contacting, networking, cooperating with new rescues, not only could more pets be saved, but it could transfer some of the costs to private individuals. Number 4 is a foster care program. Paulding currently doesn't have one, but if only 2% of our county's population were willing and allowed to foster, we could virtually end space killing in our shelters. Comprehensive adoption program is number 5. Animal control is not in a convenient location. It's not easy for the public to get to. And there are very few off-site adoption events each year. If serious adoption programs were put into place, more animals could get adopted. That means those animals are not being housed, fed, and possibly euthanized by our shelter, which saves money, and each pet brings in revenue through adoption fees and more. Pet retention programs is number 6. Owner surrenders make up about 40% of the pets killed at animal control. There are communities that have put in place pet advice hotlines or behavioral assistance programs that have cut owner surrenders by as much as 25%. This is an investment into our community that keeps pets out of the shelter and in turn keeps tax dollars from being spent on them. Number 7 is medical and behavioral programs. Shelter life takes its toll on perfectly healthy adoptable pets. This is due to a lack of medical and behavioral programs that could be put into place. For example, routine interaction could keep pets sociable, prevent depression, cage fright, and aggressive tendencies. Number 8 is public relations and community development. By focusing on these things, we can increase adoptions, maximize donations, recruit volunteers, increase the shelter's public exposure. In one community that adopted this program, volunteer numbers went from 12 to almost 8,000, and the number of foster homes from few to about 2,500. In addition to this, people are more likely to donate to a no-kill shelter. Number 9 is volunteer programs. Volunteers work as hard as anyone because they work out of love and compassion. To the community, they act as liaisons in helping the adoption process. To the animals, they make the difference between life and death. Number 10 is proactive redemptions. Only about 9% of the pets processed or animal control are reclaimed. By shifting from a passive approach to a proactive one, more animals could be reunited with their families. Proactive shelters have shown that as many as 2/3 of stray dogs can be reunited with their families. Number 11, the final step is most important of all. We must have the cooperation of compassionate animal control leadership who would rather turn to life-saving alternatives. Thankfully, Paulding County's animal control does have leadership that cares about animal lives, and they've shown they're willing to work with us. This doesn't mean that the shelter won't have obstacles to success, but it does mean that they're not impossible to overcome. Pet spending is now the 8th largest sector of the economy, and giving to animal-related charities is the fastest growing segment of American philanthropy. This embrace of animals cuts across demographics. Furthermore, A 2009 national study found that there's no correlation between per capita spending at animal control and the save rates. The success of no-kill has been based on the programmatic effort of its leadership and not on the size of the budget. No-kill is cost-effective, adoption brings in revenue, while euthanizing healthy pets is a cost to taxpayers. Studies have found in shelters across the nation at least 90% of pets sent to a shelter are healthy, adoptable pets. Since our shelter adopts only about 45% of all processed animals, we're euthanizing half of the healthy, adoptable pets. Now we're asking you and all of Paulding County to join us. We're asking you to help us change our policies so that our tax dollars are invested into better life-saving programs. Thank you for listening.
Now we have Susan, destroy this name.
Yeah, I just.
Homicide?
Pomoxnick.
Almost. Thank you, if you would sign it for us.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank Mandy. It's been a long time since I've seen you. It's good to see you again. I don't think we've ever heard that much information in that short of time. Great job.
Yes, thank you, commissioners, for listening to me. My name is Susan Pomoxnick. I'm a pet rescuer and a pet foster, a Paulding County resident of 21 years. Mandy spoke to you on the 11 steps to the equation. I'm going to expound on that on one of the main steps. One of those main steps is a trap, neuter, return program. I want to explain how it works. This is a very important step because approximately 77% of the cats and kittens that are processed through the shelter are killed. 25% of those killed were deemed feral. I think we can all agree that none of these numbers are acceptable, and we could put a huge dent in our kill rate simply by adopting a more humane and effective approach to our community cats. It has been proven that trap, neuter, return programs for free-living cats allow shelters to reduce the death rates, keep the cats healthy, and naturally reduce their population because they cannot reproduce. The idea that cats only belong indoors is contrary to the natural history of the species. Trap, neuter, return actually addresses all aspects of feral cat concerns. For example, the idea that people do not want feral cats around their neighborhood is caused by nuisance complaints, which typically involve reproductive behaviors such as spraying, biting, and mating. When cats are fixed, these behaviors generally disappear. TNR stands for trap, neuter, return, has been shown to reduce nuisance complaints by as much as 80%. There is also the myth that cats are a public health and safety risk. There are no facts to support this. In a study of feral cats living on the Stanford University campus in close proximity to students, faculty, staff, and visitors, the Santa Clara County Health Department and Stanford's Department of Comparative Medicine concluded that feral cats pose virtually no health or safety risk to humans. Let's talk about rabies. About 1/100th of 1% of the total U.S. cat population are diagnosed with rabies, a percentage that constitutes a negligible risk. There has not been a case of rabies transmitted from cat to human in the U.S. in over 30 years. Also, because a rabies vaccine is part of all TNR programs, this risk is eliminated because there have been no known causes of cats contracting rabies if they have received at least one vaccination. There is another myth that feral cats threaten bird populations. While bird species declines have taken place, almost all reliable studies identify a different cause: habitat destruction by humans, the use of pesticides, drought, and trapping by humans are just some of the other possible reasons. There is no evidence to support this myth, so feral cats should not be the scapegoat. Most importantly, TNR programs are not expensive to implement. Actually, it is more expensive not to implement a TNR program. It costs much less to TNR a cat than to take the cat into the shelter, hold and maintain it, then kill it and dispose of its body. Neutering alone results in saving due to reduced birth rates. There are 3 major studies that prove this fact. A Florida study showing that neutering rather than impounding and killing feral cats, the local jurisdiction saved over $650,000 in a 6-year period. A 10-year Ohio study found that cat impounds and deaths were increasing in shelters statewide, except for the shelter with the TNR program in place. And an analysis of impound and death rates in San Francisco's public shelters found that field impounds were down 65%, adult cat deaths were down 82%, and kitten deaths were down 93%, all thanks to the TNR program that also resulted in great cost savings to the municipality. All of this being said, we do understand that a trap-neuter program will require an ordinance change and may take some time to accomplish. We hope to work diligently with you in this endeavor. But in the meantime, we have a proposal that we are sure you will support, as it is a no-win proposal. At this time, it is the shelter's policy that all feral kittens are euthanized, never even having the opportunity to be adopted. Unsocialized kittens, or feral as you will call them, can easily be tamed and adopted out. We have a licensed rescue on board right now that is willing and able to pull them, socialize them, and adopt them. These kittens are harmless. They are babies that just need to be socialized, and then they are perfectly adoptable pets. They pose no harm to the residents of Paulding County. In case you don't believe me, I have 2 living in my spare room that my 12-year-old grandson plays with. They don't ever hurt anybody. We have drafted a charter that would release the county, the marshal's office, and the shelter of any liability regarding these kittens. We've had it reviewed by a lawyer, and it will certainly meet your needs. Releasing feral kittens to rescues not only saves the kittens' lives, but it removes the cost of housing, killing, and disposing of these kittens from the county. Licensed rescues will already be responsible for the killing, for the Department of Agriculture, for the health and safe placement of the kittens that they accept. Thus, there will be no concern for the kittens' health or safety. Saving both money and the lives of harmless kittens are wonderful incentives. We will address this issue with you further after you have had an opportunity to review our proposed charter. Thank you so much for your time, for listening to the facts about TNR, and for helping us to save these kittens' lives. It's a small step, but it is a step, one step closer to a no-kill shelter. Thank you for listening to me.
Can I ask you one question?
You sure? Yeah.
Now, you're saying y'all have a rescuer now that will
Yes.
take all of the feral kittens we receive?
With
Is
space,
that what I heard correctly?
as space is allowable, we are working with rescues.
Okay, space is allowable, so it's not, I mean, they'll take as many as they can, but not.
Right now, we just have one. We can get more, and we'll work diligently to get more. We eventually plan to have it so we can take them.